We all know, social media scheduling is supposed to be a lifesaver, right? A huge time saver. But what if that very tool you rely on is actually holding you back? Today, we're going to dive into 5 huge mistakes that could be sabotaging your success without you even realizing it.
And yeah, this is the big question, isn't it? You've got your posts automated, your calendar looks perfect and full, but could all that streamlined efficiency actually be undermining your success? It's a scary thought, but one we've got to ask.
It really comes down to this idea of a double-edged sword. Scheduling is absolutely essential. I mean, you can't manage multiple platforms without it. But it's got these hidden risks, these little traps that can catch even the most seasoned social media pros off guard.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's so easy to fall into that convenience trap, especially with cross-posting. You end up with this generic, one-size-fits-all content, and it just quietly chips away at your reach on every single platform. You might not even notice it happening until it's too late.
Okay, so how do we even spot these issues? Well, that's what we're here for. We're going to break down the 5 most common scheduling mistakes that teams make, and more importantly, we're going to talk about how to fix them. That's right, 5 critical errors. And once you see them, you can start building a way smarter, way more effective workflow, like today.
All right, let's get into it. Mistake number 1, and honestly, this one is probably the biggest offender of them all. Mindless cross-posting. You know exactly what I'm talking about, that one-size-fits-all mentality. You write one post and just blast it out everywhere without a second thought.
And here's the thing. LinkedIn isn't TikTok. X is not Instagram. They are totally different worlds. Each one has its own vibe, its own algorithm, its own culture, and your audience expects something different on each one. If you ignore that, you're basically just signing up for low engagement. It's a recipe for disaster.
So how do you fix this? It's actually way simpler than you think. You just have to tailor your content before you hit that schedule button. Here's a super easy workflow. Just open up a separate tab for each network you're posting to. Look at them side by side. See how the image looks, how the caption reads. Then just tweak the copy, the hashtags, the image, so it feels native to that platform. I'm telling you, this little step makes a massive difference. Okay, so you've tailored your content perfectly. Awesome. But it can still totally flop if your timing is off. And that brings us right to mistake number 2, publishing when your audience is asleep. This is that classic set it and forget it trap.
I mean, it's just common sense when you think about it, right? You could create the most amazing, viral-worthy piece of content ever, but if you post it at 3 in the morning for an audience that's scrolling at 3 in the afternoon, yeah, it's gonna fall flat. No question. The solution here is all about data. Don't just guess. Sure, you can start with those best times to post articles you see everywhere, but, and this is the most important part, you have to compare that to your own analytics. What does your data say? When is your audience actually online? That's what matters. And hey, if you've got a global audience, you got to think about localizing those post times. It's a game changer.
But timing isn't just about the clock. It's about context. And that leads us to a really tricky one. Mistake number 3, over-automation during sensitive moments. You've seen this happen, right? Some big news story breaks, or a brand is having a crisis, and then bam, a super cheerful, tone-deaf scheduled post goes live. Oof, it's cringeworthy.
Your scheduler doesn't read the news, you know? It has zero situational awareness. So when things get real, it can make your brand look incredibly out of touch. This is why smart teams always have a human in the loop, someone who can jump in, hit pause, and pivot the whole strategy when something unexpected happens.
And you don't have to wait for a crisis to figure this out. You can actually prepare for it. Have a crisis workflow ready to go. What does that look like? It means having one place to monitor everything, a plan to give your crisis team fast, temporary access, and a secure way to share info without leaking sensitive data everywhere.
Right, and that whole controlled access thing is so important. But it's pretty much impossible if you're making mistake number 4, weak governance and shared passwords. Come on, we've all seen it. Passing logins around in a chat message, using one password for the whole team, it's a huge, gaping security risk.
Just look at the difference here. The risky way versus a secure way. Instead of slinging passwords around, you should be sharing browser sessions. Think about that. It lets you give someone access for, say, just 1 hour, and then it's gone. They never even see the password. It's a totally different and way better approach to security.
Okay, so let's say you've done all this hard work. You've tailored your content, you've nailed the timing, your security is locked down, but it can all be for nothing if you're making mistake number 5.
and that is poor tracking. No feedback loop. You're basically just throwing content at the wall and hoping something sticks. You're just guessing.
Yeah, without data, you're absolutely flying blind. If you're not tagging your links, how can you prove your social media efforts are even working? How do you show your ROI? More importantly, how do you learn what's actually resonating? Which caption, which creative? You'll never know for sure.
Now, I know this chart might look a little technical, but I promise it's super simple. Using UTM parameters is just like adding little tags to your links. The source just says, hey, this person came from LinkedIn. The medium says they got here from a social media post, and the campaign tells you it was for your big fall launch. See? Simple. But this is the key that unlocks all that amazing performance data.
All right, so we've walked through the 5 biggest mistakes that can trip you up. Now, let's pull it all together. We're going to synthesize this into a simple, no-nonsense checklist you can literally use to audit your own workflow.
And here it is, your no-regrets scheduling checklist. 1. Tailor your content for each platform. 2. Tag every single link. 3. Pick smart times using real data. 4. A/B test your stuff. Try different copy, different thumbnails. 5. Collaborate securely. 6. Share access, not passwords. And 7. Always be ready to pause during a crisis. Seriously, this is your roadmap to doing it right.
So I want you to think about your own process right now. As you look at this list, which one of these jumps out at you? Which one makes you kind of cringe a little bit? What is the one thing you can fix this week to stop sabotaging yourself and start turning your scheduling into the powerful growth engine it's supposed to be?